Why do some people feel guilty for resting, anxious for disappointing others, and exhausted from always being nice? Have you ever wondered why some people feel intense discomfort at the thought of saying no, even when it costs them their peace, time, and self-respect? Psychology calls this people-pleasing, a behavioral pattern where the fear of rejection becomes stronger than the instinct for self-protection. But here's the twist. People who can't say no are not weak. They are trained. Now ask yourself, why do you say yes when your mind is screaming no? Why do you apologize when you've done nothing wrong? Why does disappointing others feel more painful than betraying yourself? And why do people-pleasers often attract manipulators, narcissists, and emotional vampires? In this video, we'll uncover the psychology of people who can't say no. The people-pleaser trap. You'll discover the hidden childhood conditioning behind it, the silent psychological cost, and the mindset shift that breaks the cycle without becoming cold, rude, or selfish. If you've ever felt trapped by your own kindness, if you're tired of being liked but not respected, if you're ready to choose peace over approval, then this video might change the way you see yourself forever. Long before the modern mind gave it a name, ancient philosophers observed a strange human reflex. The mouth agrees before the soul decides. This is the invisible yes, a response so fast it bypasses conscious thought. You are asked for a favor. Your chest tightens. Your mind hesitates. Yet the word yes escapes. Not because you chose it, but because your nervous system did. Psychology reveals that this automatic compliance is not politeness. It is conditioning. Over time, the brain learns that agreement equals safety, approval equals peace. Saying yes becomes a reflex carved into the psyche, like a knee jerking beneath a physician's hammer. The will is no longer consulted. In ancient survival psychology, belonging meant life. To be rejected from the tribe was not emotional. It was fatal. Many people-pleasers were shaped in environments where love was unpredictable, approval was conditional, and silence was safer than expression. As children, they learned a powerful lesson: adapt or be abandoned. So they adapted. They read moods like weather signs, adjusted themselves like masks, and learned that being agreeable reduced danger. This is why people-pleasing feels natural. It was once protective. The brain wired compliance as armor. What began as survival strategy slowly hardened into identity. But ancient wisdom also warns, what protects you in war can imprison you in peace. The hidden cost of being nice is not kindness, it is self-erasure. Each unchosen yes steals a fragment of identity. Resentment grows quietly, like rust beneath gold. Energy drains, boundaries dissolve. Over time, the people-pleaser becomes trusted, relied upon, and invisible. Psychology calls this self-betrayal, the silent wound where one's needs are sacrificed to preserve harmony. And here lies the paradox. The more you abandon yourself to keep others, the further you drift from being truly respected. This is the invisible yes, not spoken from desire, but from fear, remembered by the body. And until it is seen, it will continue to speak for you. Behind every practiced smile lies an ancient fear older than language itself, the fear of being cast out. Ancient psychology teaches that humans do not merely fear pain, they fear separation. For the people-pleaser, rejection does not feel like disappointment. It feels like danger. Conflict feels catastrophic, not because it is loud, but because it threatens connection. Abandonment is not imagined as loneliness, but as disappearance. So, the smile becomes armor. Agreeableness becomes camouflage. and silence becomes the price paid to remain included. This fear does not shout. It whispers, "If you resist, you will be alone." In early societies, trade was survival. In the inner world of the people pleaser, approval becomes the currency that keeps emotional hunger away. Praise replaces nourishment. Validation replaces rest. Each nod, each thank you, each sign of acceptance triggers relief, not joy, but safety. Over time, self-worth is no longer generated from within. It is outsourced. Psychology reveals that when approval becomes currency, identity becomes negotiable. The people pleaser learns to sell agreement, patience, and self-sacrifice in exchange for momentary peace. But like all borrowed wealth, it never lasts, and the cost always increases. To the rational mind, saying no is a sentence. To the conditioned brain, it is a threat. Neuroscience confirms what ancient observers sensed. Refusal activates the same neural circuits as danger. The heart races, the stomach tightens, the body prepares for loss. This is not weakness. It is memory stored in the nervous system. Past moments of punishment, withdrawal, or emotional coldness taught the brain a rule: no equals pain. So when the word approaches the lips, the body intervenes. Anxiety rises, guilt floods in, and the smile returns, not as choice, but as defense. This is the fear beneath the smile, not visible, not spoken, but always obeyed. And as long as fear governs connection, freedom will feel unsafe. Ancient psychology understood that the child's mind is not taught, it is imprinted. Long before logic awakens, the nervous system is already learning the rules of love. For many people pleasers, praise was not freely given, it was earned. Approval arrived only after obedience, good behavior, or emotional restraint. Punishment was not always loud, it was often silence, withdrawal, or disappointment. And silence to a child speaks louder than anger. The lesson becomes carved into the psyche. I am safe when I comply. Over time, the child stops asking what they feel and starts scanning for what is expected. Compliance becomes instinct, not choice. Every family is a small kingdom, and every child is assigned a role. The peacemaker, the responsible one, the easy child. Ancient observers noted that when authority figures are unpredictable or emotionally unsafe, children adapt by becoming useful rather than authentic. They learn to regulate the emotions of others instead of expressing their own. If authority rewarded obedience and punished resistance, the nervous system learned a dangerous equation. Power decides love. Emotional safety was found not in honesty, but in harmony. And so the child learned to bend, to soften, to disappear, just enough to survive. Here lies the deepest conditioning of all. When love is conditional, usefulness becomes proof of worth. The people pleaser grows up believing that affection must be maintained through service, sacrifice, and availability. To be needed feels like being loved. To rest feels like risk. Ancient psychology warned of this confusion, that when love is earned, it is never secure. As adults, people pleasers overgive not because they are generous, but because usefulness feels like survival. They do not ask, "Am I loved?" They ask, "Am I needed?" This is childhood conditioning, where survival taught the heart a false language. And until usefulness is untangled from love, the past will keep negotiating the present. Ancient psychology taught that the self is strengthened through choice. But when choice is surrendered repeatedly, identity begins to thin. Each unchosen yes is a quiet agreement to ignore one's inner voice. At first, the loss is subtle. Preferences fade, Opinions soften, desires become unclear. Over time, the people pleaser no longer knows where they end and others begin. The mind learns a dangerous habit. My needs are optional. And what is treated as optional eventually feels non-existent. This is self-betrayal, not a dramatic act, but a daily erosion of the self through compliance. What is denied expression does not disappear. It retreats underground. Ancient thinkers warned that suppressed emotion ferments. The people pleaser smiles, agrees, and accommodates, yet beneath the surface, resentment accumulates. Burnout follows not from effort, but from invisibility. Silent anger grows, confused and directionless, because it has nowhere to go. It cannot be spoken without guilt, nor acted upon without fear. So it turns inward, becoming exhaustion, bitterness, or self-blame. This is the cost of peace without truth. Nature observes weakness, not to punish it, but to use it. Those who overgive without boundaries signal availability without consequence. Takers, manipulators, and emotionally entitled individuals sense this instinctively. They do not create the imbalance, they exploit it. The people pleaser mistakes attention for connection and obligation for loyalty. Ancient psychology called this imbalance a broken contract. One gives endlessly, the other consumes freely. And the more the people pleaser gives, hoping to be valued, the more invisible they become. This is the self-betrayal loop, where kindness without boundaries becomes a cage. And until the yes is reclaimed as a choice, the cycle will repeat in new faces with the same outcome. Psychology regarded boundaries as sacred lines, markers of where one soul ends and another begins. To say no was not an act of hostility, but of clarity. Yet the people pleaser was taught to believe that refusal equals rejection. This belief is false. A boundary does not push others away. It defines the space in which connection can safely exist. No is not the denial of love. It is the protection of truth. When spoken without apology, it reveals integrity. When withheld out of fear, it invites erosion. In wisdom traditions, the boundary was not cruelty. It was order. The first honest no often feels like danger, but it is the nervous system awakening from captivity. Psychology shows that reclaiming autonomy restores internal alignment. Anxiety slowly gives way to calm. Guilt fades into self-trust. The body learns a new rule: I can choose and remain safe. Each boundary strengthens identity, like muscle rebuilt after long neglect. Over time, the people pleaser no longer reacts automatically. They respond intentionally. The inner voice, once silenced, becomes audible again. This is not rebellion, it is regulation. Ancient observers noted a quiet law of human behavior. People respond to how you treat yourself. When self-respect replaces self-sacrifice, relationships reorganize, takers retreat, respectful individuals adjust. Manipulation loses its grip because access now requires consent. The people pleaser does not become cold, they become clear. And clarity is powerful. Others may resist at first, not because you are wrong, but because the old rules no longer apply. Self-respect redraws the contract of interaction. This is the power of no, not spoken in anger, but anchored in self-knowledge. And once autonomy is reclaimed, kindness becomes a choice, not a survival strategy. Ancient psychology taught that freedom is never painless, it is practiced. For the people pleaser, discomfort is not danger, but the body has been trained to believe otherwise. To escape the trap, the mind must be rewired through exposure, not force. Each moment of tolerated discomfort teaches the nervous system a new truth. Unease will pass, and connection can survive it. Anxiety is no longer an enemy. It becomes evidence of growth. Over time, the brain releases its grip on old survival codes, and the reflexive yes loses its urgency. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. This is how fear dissolves, not by avoidance, but by endurance. Ancient wisdom emphasized gradual initiation, not sudden transformation. The people pleaser does not begin with confrontation, but with precision. Delay responses instead of answering immediately. Replace automatic agreement with phrases like, "Let me think about that." Set limits without explanation, for explanations invite negotiation. Practice refusal in low-stakes moments, where the cost feels survivable. Each small no builds internal credibility. The psyche begins to trust itself again. Boundaries stop feeling like weapons and start feeling like tools. At the heart of the trap lies a final decision, one that must be made repeatedly. Approval is temporary. Self-worth is stable. Ancient psychology warned that when worth is borrowed, it can be revoked. But when worth is chosen, it cannot be taken. The people pleaser learns to measure relationships not by acceptance, but by alignment. Love no longer requires self-abandonment. Respect no longer demands exhaustion. In choosing self-worth over approval, the cycle ends. This is how the trap is escaped, not through rebellion, but through remembrance. The remembrance that you were never meant to earn the right to exist. Peace is internal. Popularity is external. One can exist without the other. Ancient wisdom taught that peace is the alignment of action with truth. When choices are made to maintain popularity, peace erodes. When choices are made to honor values, peace deepens. Even if approval fades, the people pleaser must choose which currency to live by. Popularity fluctuates. Peace endures. Freedom is not loud. It does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, the moment the self is no longer negotiated. Ancient philosophy described freedom as inner sovereignty, the ability to act without fear of emotional exile. When people-pleasing ends, energy returns. Identity stabilizes. Relationships become honest. Life becomes lighter, not because everyone approves, but because you finally do. And this is the final truth. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to belong to yourself. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's not coincidence. It means something in you recognized the truth. If you've spent years shrinking, explaining, and saying yes when your mind was begging for no, this is your moment to stop surviving and start choosing. Hit the like button, not for me, but as a signal to yourself that this cycle ends here. Subscribe if you're ready to rebuild your mind, your boundaries, and your self-respect from the inside out. And comment one word below, free, to mark the moment you decided to stop negotiating your worth. Because the most dangerous trap was never other people. It was forgetting you had the right to choose yourself. The next step is yours now. Thank you for watching.